Okay, I know everybody's always talking about how great this game is. But people, we gotta talk about how great this game is right now. All right, I know. Everyone who's anyone that has played Euro board games before has talked about how amazing Concordia is, but it needs to be said. This game is pristine. It has made me interested in mechanics that I normally don't like area control. Now, this isn't going to be a tour of how the game plays or what you do to play the game, because Lord knows enough people have done that. So what I'm going to tell you is about the mental health implications that this game gives you. Now, what I mean by that is, as a therapist in my normal career, everything that you do can be affected in many different ways. And in this game, it's no exception. I have never, and I mean this is not my favorite game of all time, but it's up there. I have never felt so good while playing a game before that I just sit there and every minute of the game flows. The ebb and flow of this production is perfect. Perfect. It goes so smoothly. The deck that you have in your hand, you have the whole deck in your hand ready to go. What game does that? I'm sure there is one, but you have every card in your entire deck ready for you. You get to choose when they come back. Can we talk about that for a second? You get to choose when your cards come back. You don't just have to go through the deck and do weird mechanics to go through the deck faster and get your cards back. If you want your cards back, you get your cards back. It is pristine. I have literally seen people play one card to copy their other person's ability on their card and then play the Tribune, get it back, and then the next turn do it again. Yeah, you don't get a lot of value for money, but you always get something. It's brilliant. The ebb and the flow, everything goes together so well. For example, I don't like area controlling games typically. It's just not a thing for me. This game did it for me. It's not as area control as the typical way, as in we can all control the same areas. I just have to pay a little bit more if you already control it, just to get it. And you know what? If I want to get a certain item, okay, but you have 3 cities in that area, you're going to get a lot of items too. How much do I need that brick? Pretty badly most of the time. How much do you advance if I give you all those resources? Quite a lot. It's the decision, every decision you make is paramount, but every decision you make, you benefit. People say that Le Havre gives you a bunch of stuff. No matter what, you always get stuff. I argue that Concordia beats that. I would say Concordia, you can't not get stuff, even if you wanted to. You can get a bunch of people on the board going all over the place. You can build anywhere that you're adjacent to and get things. You can buy new cards that just make your deck extremely powerful. We'll talk about the cards more in a minute. But man, you always have something to do. You always have something to bring to the table. The economy is great. I mean, we literally have, okay, it's hard to talk about the cards. We literally have a card that says, here, I'm going to give you, like the game will now give you money. Oh, by the way, now you can do some trading also. What? That's incredible. That never happens. Games don't just give you that. And it gives you so much. And there is, like, the board is a tight map sometimes, not so tight map sometimes. You can have so many. It doesn't matter because you never get bored. You just keep wanting to play and bring it back to the table. Every time someone comes over for a game night of some kind, I'm like, I wonder what Concordia would be like with this person. Or I wonder what Concordia, that's usually my first thought. That's terrifying because it controls my mind. It's one of those games that afterwards I sit back and I go, oh. It's like I went to the gym. It's so thought-provoking and it's so, I sweat when I'm playing, which might be a different problem entirely, but that's neither here nor there. The game brings so much joy. And I mean that very specifically. It brings joy to the table. People who are playing it are deep in thought and confused. I need to think about what my opponent is doing, but if I don't, it's not going to kill me. I'm going to do fine either way. You never know who's winning because the final scoring is pristine. You never know what's going on. And the best part is, when you buy a card, it goes right to your hand and is available the next turn. It doesn't go on top of your deck or in your discard or any of that stuff. You just get it. This is now your card. Great! I'm gonna use that card. And it's powerful. And you get a ton of, oh, I'd like resources, tons of them. You get resources in so many different ways. It's not like there's one way to get resources. There's plenty of ways to do it, and you can dip into all of them and do well. In this game, you can do all one thing and still do okay. You'd have to really adjust your strategy around, but you don't have to do everything. But if you want to, you can do everything. The game, it's like it feels like a sandbox. It's not, but when you're playing it, it feels like one, and it is pristine. It really adds a lot to a game night. And when I play it, I just want to play it again, and again, and again, and again. And it's hard to put it on the shelf and be like, I gotta play another game so I don't get bored of it, because I'm worried that I will. But I haven't. I've been playing this game for a while, and I was hesitant to buy this game. I was very anti-Concordia. I was saying, this game's not as good as people are saying it is. It's overrated. This is getting ridiculous. And then, well, this happened. So what happened? I hear you shriek. Concordia Venus happened. Oh my goodness. Concordia Venus happened. So the original Concordia is in my humble opinion, and this is coming from a Euro gamer who plays Stefan Feld games. Concordia, the original, had the ugliest box in the history of board games. It was so hideous I refused to buy it. I said, no, they're not even trying. It looks more like a book cover of a game or a book that was in your grandfather's basement that you saw one day and said, ew, what is that? That's what it looked like. And then they came out with this. Let's put it this way. This art is still not good. It's still pretty mediocre. Especially when they knew the biggest criticism was the front art of the box, enough to change it to this. It's still not great. It's still trading in the Mediterranean, which I don't care about, but a lot of people do. It's still Concordia. But it came with the expansion maps in it. 2 of them. So they have the map there, double-sided, and we have the double-sided map here, also with the 2-player map on it, I believe. So, that opened the door. I said, okay, you know what, if they're just going to put it all in one box, well, a majority of it, Salsa's not in it, but a majority of it, fine. I bought it, I played it, and within 10 minutes, it was over. As in, my thought process of the game was over. It had changed. It had flipped on its head. The game was so strong, so good, and I regretted my dislike of it immediately. I was like, where have I been? I watched Shut Up and Sit Down's review about it before, and I was like, it doesn't do it for me. And boy, was I wrong. Don't judge a book by its cover, or a game by its cover art. Because, wow! This game is great. It's so good. I can't underestimate it. I'll never underestimate it ever again. No matter who's playing with me, how many people, I want to play the new solo version that's coming out. There's an official solo variant that's going to be coming out, or maybe already out by the time I've made this. And I want to play everything, every way I can. These cards are the reason. Now, obviously, there's area control, there's deck building, kind of. It's a pre-built deck, and then you can buy cards. You don't have to, but you can. You can buy 2 at once. It really depends. So you have abilities such as the Prefect, which can get you resources from a certain province, or maybe somebody else resources from a certain province. There's the Architect, which means you can get another guy. No, the Architect allows you to move your guys across the board to build things. Then you have things that, like the Mercator, which is helping you buy stuff, but you can also buy a different type of Mercator card, which gives you more money. It gives you $5 instead of $3, and you can do the same thing. Great, great. We have different cards that can help you buy things. You have different cards. I've had cards that copy your opponent's last used card, okay? I have copied my opponent's last used card, which his card was, copy your opponent's last used card, which was the card I really wanted to use. So I said, I'll copy you, that's copying me, and then I'll use me again. It was great. There's so many times where the opponent will play a card and you'll be like, okay, my entire turn just changed. And I can do so many different things. Never, that I've noticed, really, does it happen when my opponent plays a card or goes to a certain place and you're like, crap, I can't do what I was going to do. My plan has changed. The only things that happen in anything like that is, oh man, I was going to do this, but my opponent just did something that really helped him, but now sets me up for about 8 new strategies. You can't go into the game with the same strategy over and over. You just can't. It doesn't work. It's intense. It's great. Like, for example, the Mercator is a Mercury card, and the Pro Council is a Jupiter card, or things like that, that are branded by their colors. And at the end of the game, you get a certain amount of points based off the color combos you have. So, say I have 3 blues, 2 greens, and a brown. For a brown, it's like, okay, how many of resources did you get? Multiply that times the amount of brown cards you had. Or, how many provinces were you on? Multiply that by how many green cards you had, etc., etc. So you want to have a lot of the green cards, for example, because they're doing some cool stuff. They're getting you some prefects, they're getting you some buildings, they're doing some great things. And you can buy them from outside of your regular deck. Great. But if you only get those, you only get the bonus points in that one area. Now you could go only that area and nothing else, and you'll get a ton of points from that one area, but then you'll get no points from all the other ones. So your opponent will get those points. But you'll get some because you have your starting deck card. Okay, fine. But if you do a little bit of everything, you get a little bit of everything points-wise. But your opponent will too. You're not winning a category where only you get those points. You're winning a category by just getting points. And your opponent's also going to get points in that area. It's all, you know, you see what your opponent is doing. You don't know necessarily the strategy because who knows what could change. And you don't necessarily know what your strategy is either for the same reason. But you know, get points. Find ways, get points. But they know that too. They know that too. And you have to maneuver around each other. There's been some times where we were both conquering the same province and we're like, cool, we're both on here in every spot. That's weird. Are we allowed to do that? Like, you can just do that and just be together on the same spot all the time. Yeah, you had to pay 1 amount extra on each spot that you went on, that he was also on. But that doesn't matter. You can still have access to it. Nothing shuts off. You're never completely shut off from anything. And it makes the game so smooth. Now, the spots on the board are going to be varied in the placement of where they are, but they're always the same amount. You're always going to have the same amount of each one on the board, so there's no shortchanging in one area or another. So it doesn't limit your strategy there either. And the cards have a different amount of cards depending on the amount of players. And that's when the game ends, when either the cards run out or your little houses, one of you runs out of your little houses. One or the other. It's pristine. It is fascinating, and it makes the theme enjoyable, even if it's pasted on. It is one of the most flawless games I've ever played. It's not the best game I've ever played, but it's one of the most flawless games I've ever played. I can't see a fault in it when you're this much of a Eurogamer as I am. If theme bothers you, if art bothers you, then you might have a hard time. Maybe. But this art bothered me to no end. Even this one. It's like it doesn't exist. It's that good. I want to show this game to people. I want to show this game off to people, which I rarely want to do in my more Euro-y, ugly games. That's what I want to do. I want to show it off and how good it is. And it's just fantastic. And I know I'm ranting at this point, but it's that good. And I know what you're thinking. You didn't really explain much about the game and how to play. You're right. And I'm doing that on purpose. No matter what style of gamer you are, no matter what types of thing, maybe if you like shooty, dead, fighting type game, I don't know what those are even called. Maybe if you like those games, you wouldn't like it, but I can't imagine. My brain just sinks, and I feel every part of my brain working, and it's seamless, and the world outside of what I'm doing doesn't exist. It's just built in. The immersion of this game is incredible for something that the theme is pasted on. When a theme is pasted on, you can't really feel you're immersed in the gameplay typically because it's like, well, but with me, I'm not really much like that. But with this game is ugly. It's ugly. The map looks like a map. It looks like a map you could open in an atlas back in the day, which is fine. It meets the aesthetic, is what I'm saying in that regard. But overall, it's not a fun game to look at. No one's like, oh, look at Concordia over there. That's some good stuff. No one's doing that unless they've played the game. I implore you, play Concordia at least once. Good luck only doing it once. Play Concordia. I'm not going into the rules because I don't want to spoil things for you. And plus, about 50 videos out there have done that already. I don't want to spoil things for you. I saw it on the shelf today. I'm like, I gotta make a video about this game. Like, I just seeing it was like, oh, it almost jumped at me. It was rather unsettling. But it just jumped and set itself up. I was like, okay, all right, we'll make the video. And it's worth every second. Every second. This was a bargain, what I got it for. Did I mention it has a team variant as well? In the game, in the box. And I don't like that kind of thing, but it's there. You can do it. And now you can solo it. Me being able to solo it, if the solo version is even remotely good, that's dangerous. You might lose me for a little while. I just might disappear. It's that good. So play Concordia, try Concordia. Frankly, these are one of those games that I would recommend just buy it. Don't even play it with a friend. Well, play it with friends, but don't like go try it with a friend to see if it's worth it because that might take some time or whatever. No, just buy it. Just buy it. It's that good. It's that good. And frankly, if you don't think it's that good for whatever reason, you'll have no trouble trading it away because of the hype that was behind it and the hype that Shut Up, Sit Down and other game channels have put behind it. You'll get rid of it. The Venus version is a little more expensive because it has both the maps in there. But I think both of the maps are completely worth it. I think that just is completely worth it. I don't see a reason not to do that. But if you really want to script for cash, I guarantee you can get the original Concordia for much cheaper, probably like $50, maybe even less. I'm not entirely sure, but you can get it for cheaper when this exists. But it's not in circulation, so that might be a problem. But this is in circulation, and if you're not as almost offended by the original art as I was, it literally, looking at it made me mad. So this at least fixed it a little, I guess. So if that's a big problem for you, okay, well, there's nothing I'm gonna do to convince you. But this is a must-have, a must-have. For anybody who considers themselves a gamer that games often and likes different styles of games and things like that, you have to own it. You have to own it. It's that good. So I'm going to finish rambling now. Let me know in the comments below if you have played the game. And if you haven't, let me know when you're going to, and then tell me how it went. Once again, my name's Nick. Mental Health Minute until May, whatever you want to call me. And this is Concordia. Allow yourself to be amazed. See you guys later.